they live among us, living normal lives, until called upon into another dimension, where an elite group of fighters compete. The King of Fighters.
Hey, what's good YouTube? My name's Gray, this is Video Holocaust, the best channel out there for action movie and cult cinema reviews. And today, I'll be wading through the stagnant waters of the dreaded video game adaptation variety with King of Fighters. Because as a lifelong gamer and big fan of one-on-one beat-em-ups, SNK's annual 2D brawlers have always been amongst my favourites of the genre, regardless of the system. But does this 2010 live-action adaptation with notable names attached, both on camera and behind it, capture the action and excitement of one of video games' grandee game franchises? Let's find out.
Round one, Rugal versus Yori. Ready, go!
Do you know what the difference is between this movie and a bucket of shit is? The bucket! Now I know spoiling the surprise of what I really think of this movie in the opening of my review goes against the etiquette of YouTube film reviewing, but there's a very good reason why I truly hate this movie as much as I do, and that's the fact that I actually got my hopes up for it. Admittedly, back in 2010 when news reached me here at Video Holocaust HQ of an American big screen outing based on the long-running franchise being in the works, alarm bells did start ringing. But when I discovered that the man in charge of directorial duties was Gordon Chan, the man who helmed underrated Hong Kong actioner Beast Cops starring Anthony Wong and the 1994 Jet Li classic Fist of Legend, amongst others, I breathed a sigh of relief and began to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Perhaps lessons had indeed been learned from the codswallop that was the other live-action adaptations of games like Tekken, Dead or Alive, Assassin's Creed, and of course the unforgivable Street Fighter. And you lucky lot can look forward to reviews of tripe like Tekken, as well as many other video game inspired cinematic offerings in the coming weeks. God help me. But it wasn't just the name that adorned the back of the director's chair that made me sit up and take notice of this movie prior to its release, as some familiar faces from both Hollywood and Hong Kong had their arms twisted to appear in this disaster. First is our star who plays the fan-wielding fan-favourite femme fatale Mei Shiranai, the sadly overdressed Maggie Q, whose career never really took off as many predicted, despite appearances in high-profile projects such as Gen Y Cops and Dragon Squad. And we're also joined by Ray Parks, who after capturing the world's attention with his performance as Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, never really capitalised upon his potential. So I was really hoping both would grab the nettle here and showcase some of that talent we know they have in their locker but has been seen so little on screen. Unfortunately, it doesn't take very long before the same mistake that every studio seems to make when trying to adapt a popular gaming franchise to film rears its head, and that's the fact that all involved clearly had no clue whatsoever or no interest in the source material. Now, I'm not saying that only a gamer and or fan should attempt to bring a video game to the big screen, but you don't have to look far to see how things should be done when you see that some of the biggest films being released today are comic book movies, which themselves hit some bumps in the early days before finding their groove. But if video games are ever going to be turned into movies of actual merit, then taking the passion of fans into consideration is a must. Sadly though, this is Hollywood we're talking about, an institution whose respect for fandoms has been somewhat lacking of late. But at the end of the day, money talks, and future video game adaptations are all but guaranteed, whether we want them or not. The story in King of Fighters games was never their selling point and was little more than background noise. Here though, Boy, do they ever want to tell a story! A story concerning magical artifacts that have been in the possession of ninja clans for thousands of years and could free demons from other dimensions. In fact, most of the dialogue is dripping in exposition, telling us how the power of the artifacts has been condensed into earpieces, allowing fighters to travel to alternate realities and fight for the title of King of Fighters, in a story as old as time. But when Rugal, played by Ray Parks, steals the artifacts, series regulars and fierce rivals Ryu Kusanagi and Lori Yagami have to team up with Mai and an over-the-hill Terry Bogard, I kid you not, in order to save the world, through some of the worst shaky cam fight scenes I've seen in quite a while. And it really puts things into perspective when a movie featuring kung fu lesbians can't hold my interest. Overall, this movie is an embarrassment to fans of SNK's flagship franchise and too boring and convoluted for your casual action film fan. Avoid this shitty movie like the plague. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog's recent big screen success, despite nearly scuppering itself before it had even been released by its disastrous first trailer screening, has proved beyond doubt that not only can video game characters make the leap to live action successfully, but they can make bank too. And that's something that won't have gone unnoticed by many studio executives. Now, in the next few weeks, I will hopefully be reviewing more video game adaptations, everything from Double Dragon to Mortal Kombat, as well as a few others. So if there's any in particular you'd like to see me do, leave a comment and let me know. So this has been my review of King of Fighters, and when it comes to video game adaptations, this must surely rank as one of the worst. But as we'll discover in the next few weeks, that may not be the case. So anyway, let me just say thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, goodbye.